So as we wrap up the awards program, I'm really delighted to introduce you to another very talented young person who participates in Lorraine Bowen's street law class at North Atlanta High School. The class partners with General Electric in the Legal Diversity Pipeline program, and this young person's name is Quentin Wojcik. And he's here to present the Excellence in Service Award to General Electric. Quentin?
Hello. How you guys doing today? Good evening. My name is Quentin Wojcik. I am a senior at North Atlanta High School in Atlanta, Georgia, as she said before. I belong into a program in my school for a small learning community, which is International Business and Entrepreneurship. Basically, what that is we kind of do college-based learning, but without the college-based classes. So mine is business, so we learn everything about business between marketing, entrepreneurship, legal environment, so on and so on. So my first period class is legal environment, and once again, my teacher is Miss Lorraine Bowen, which is right there. This class uses a curriculum called Street Law. Street Law teaches us about the judicial system and case laws. We are forced to use critical thinking skills as it relates to real-life situations. We are fortunate enough to have General Electric attorneys, which we have one here today, teach us during our class period. The attorneys' discussions were informative and very engaging. We were focused on two main units, contracts and negotiation and conflict resolution. My first thoughts was, it's nap time. I had no idea what the discussion would actually be like. To my surprise, the attorneys were so knowledgeable and engaging that I remained awake and became very interested in the topic. We were allowed to ask questions no matter how dumb the question appeared to us. After GE attorneys came to our school, we were invited to GE corporate office to participate in a street law workshop. Each of Ms. Bowen's legal environment classes were invited. The attorneys set up a workshop by dividing the class into 4 teams. Each team represented a country. Our task was to negotiate between the various countries. Students who never had much to say had a lot to say while negotiating the contracts and resolving conflicts. Because of the attorneys' interest in our class, we were grateful to them, and we look forward for a rematch. I was chosen as one of the top negotiators, therefore, I will be prepared to take on any attorney in this room. Finally, on the behalf of NAHS and the students that participated in the street law at GE, we would like to thank all of you for giving us the opportunity to see ourselves as future attorneys. It is my pleasure to present this year's Excellence in Service Award to GE. Please join me while welcoming Barbara Daniel with us to accept the award.
Thank you, Quentin. I met him outside. He's so charming. I think all the GE lawyers in the room want to give him a job already, so. But on a more serious note, what does it take to get out of poverty in one of the richest countries in the world? What is the infrastructure of opportunity in this society? Whose capabilities are given wing to achieve what they can achieve, either through our government's economic policies or the constraints of our marketplace? And by what means might these children climb out of poverty? Another set of questions nag at us. In a society that has a profound juxtaposition of inequality, which is a signature fact of so many of our modern cities, Scholars who map this inequality or disparity between the wealthy and the impoverished have observed that the difference between the haves and the have-nots in cities like New York and Washington, D.C. are just as grave as cities like Nairobi and Sao Paulo. Some people consider these juxtapositions of wealth and poverty a moral problem. What fascinates me is why they're not more of a practical one. Why don't more of our unequal societies implode? In the age of globalization, hope is not a fiction. Extreme poverty is being alleviated globally, unevenly, but nonetheless significantly. But as capital rushes around the planet, and the idea of rewarding permanent work becomes anachronistic, the unpredictability of daily life has a way of grinding down individual promise. Ideally, the government eases some of this instability. In places, however, where government priorities and market imperatives create a world so capricious that to help a neighbor is to risk your own family's well-being, and sometimes even your own liberty, the idea of a mutually supportive poor community is demolished. The poor blame one another for choices of governments and markets, and we who are not poor are ready to blame the poor harshly. It is easy from a safe distance to overlook the fact that in a blisteringly hard world, it is hard to be good. The astonishment is that some people are good, and that many people try to be. Now, I suspect that at this point in my remarks, you are under two fundamental misimpressions. The first is that these were my words. And the second, that they were written specifically to describe the mission of street law. In fact, they were the comments of an author, Kathleen Boo, who is the author of Behind the Beautiful Forevers, which is based on her on-the-scene reporting of life in a Mumbai slum, not here in the United States. And yet her observations are remarkably universal, aren't they? It's as a result of this vision we mutually share with Ms. Boo, and we share with each other, that I am privileged to be here this evening and accept this Excellence in Service Award on behalf of the GE Legal Department. And first and most importantly, on behalf of GE's General Counsel, Brackett Denniston, and also a significant and long-term supporter, GE's General Counsel of GE Capital, Alex Dimitrieff, who couldn't be here this evening. He's actually traveling in Asia globally, addressing exactly what Ms. Boo was talking about. GE Legal is very proud of our partnership with Street Law, and especially with the Diversity Pipeline Program. In the spring of 2007, our legal department volunteers from our Fairfield office, our headquarters, started working with teenagers in nearby high schools. Since then, the GE company has expanded its participation in sites in Atlanta, Georgia, in Chicago, Illinois, and in Erie, Pennsylvania. GE and Street Law are perfect partners, since both organizations are tireless champions of diversity in the workplace and in the legal profession. And as I go through my remarks tonight, almost every one of you law firms who have sponsored a table tonight are firms that we have been privileged to work with. And I will not have the opportunity, or you will never get home, to thank each of you individually. But I want to tell you that we are grateful and we have observed your commitment to this incredibly important cause. The Street Law Legal Diversity Pipeline Program encourages young people from diverse backgrounds to pursue legal careers by providing them hands-on experience in the legal field. You've heard some of them today. For students, they come in and they become the lawyers, and they participate in mock negotiations and hearings using scenarios developed by our lawyers, our lawyer volunteers, and our law firm partners. During the program sessions and in one-on-one conversations over lunch and breaks, the students learn from our lawyers what their daily professional lives are like, what inspired them to become lawyers. I've had the privilege this evening of talking to some of my colleagues here about what inspired them. And you know, if you don't have that opportunity of knowing a single lawyer, you might miss and all you have is television to go by, you might actually miss out in understanding what has made all of us so passionate about being lawyers and why it is so much more than television reflects to you. Let me share with you some data. And those of you, which is almost everybody in this room, who has worked with GE knows we are like crazy for data. The Diversity Pipeline Program includes over 1,000 participating volunteers and reaches more than 3,300 students each year. And GE's programs involve more than 100 volunteers, where we reach approximately 250 students each school year. And I'm happy to tell you we are growing and looking forward to being an even more vital part of this wonderful program. Perhaps the most important data point is the knowledge that each of you in this room has made a difference in a young person's life. Nothing is more gratifying than hearing how one of our programs encouraged a young person to become a legal professional. And I was lucky enough to meet Patrick. Where's Patrick, our chairman? Yeah, what's your last name, Patrick? I'm sorry. I was lucky enough to meet Patrick tonight and to hear how his experience in street law causes him to be a partner in a major law firm of Paul Weiss. And that's the proof in the pudding of why we are all here tonight. And I encourage you all to write checks tonight to this organization. Recently, GE caught up with a young lady named Vicki Rusanova, who is a 2010 Chicago Pipeline Program participant. And today, Vicki is an undergraduate student at Northwestern University, and she plans on continuing her education and going on to law school. Vicki told us about her participation in the street law program and how it helped her focus on becoming a legal professional. Let me share with you some of her remarks. She said, "My experience at street law only confirmed my passion for the legal field." I love that word. My passion for the legal profession. I was inspired by the people I talked to and felt challenged. I knew I would have to study hard and stay motivated. Vicki said she also appreciates the frank advice that she received from the lawyers who worked with her through the street law program. She said, "Everyone I met throughout my experience was not only helpful, but was also very genuine and enthusiastic about talking to me about their jobs. I specifically remember having conversations with 2 women on the GE team about how to balance the pressure of being at a high-intensity firm with family life. Both women shared their life experiences with me, and this helped me answer many of the questions and made me feel optimistic about my future prospects in the legal field." It's the interaction of these sessions, the mock negotiations and the mediations, that the students take the lead in. And you see these future lawyers emerge and getting excited about the issues and the strategy of crafting arguments. You heard some of them tonight express to you that enthusiasm about being a strategic thinker. Of course, the students are not the only people who benefit from these programs. Everyone who participates in them, all of the attorneys who give their time generously to them, are gaining so much from participating with Street Law, this wonderful organization. Most of us in the corporate legal departments don't often have an opportunity to go back to high school and to share time with these students in a classroom setting. And there's something very gratifying about watching the students blossom as they get these experiences. With me tonight to accept this award are just a few of the GE attorneys who can tell you at the tables that you are hosting them at how much they have enjoyed this experience. And I apologize in advance to my colleagues whose name I may inadvertently forget to mention. Here from Erie, Pennsylvania, we have Ozell Freeman, who is a sourcing leader and a senior lawyer in GE's transportation business. Ozell and his colleagues, Laura Presna, Lori Watson, and Kimberly Craver, partner with the East High School and Erie School District, in which there are approximately 900 students, of which close to 300 are English language learners. From the Connecticut program, we have Greg Davis, who is the leader of GE Capital's pro bono program. So he shares his time and energy in many places in helping sustain programs like this. We also have one of my very dear colleagues who works in the Connecticut area for Street Law, Mark O'Leary. And together they teach at the West Hill High School Street Law program in Stamford, Connecticut. The student body at West Hill is approximately 60% diverse, and approximately 40% of its students receive free or reduced cost lunch, both statistics being well above the state average. In Connecticut and other cities, GE involves not only its own internal lawyers in the Street Law Diversity Pipeline program, but also recruits attorneys from partner law firms to bring even more volunteers into the program. At the West Hill High School, the GE team partners with Paul Hastings. And tonight we have a large number of Paul Hastings attorneys joining us, and I want to thank you for that support, including Barbara Johnson and Brian Moran for their special contributions to the program. From the Atlanta program, we have with us tonight Linda McMahon, my colleague and friend. And we also have Kathleen Bardell, Constance Rotz, and Carol Deloche-Atteri, all from GE's power and water businesses. In Atlanta, the GE team partners with the local law firm of Sutherland, Ashbell, and Brennan. We also have with us our colleagues, some of our colleagues from Chicago were specifically derailed by weather and by American Airlines and are unable to attend tonight. But I would like to mention them. But before I go there, we are also privileged to have the general counsel of one of our largest healthcare businesses, Alfreda Bradley Core, who is my friend and a great supporter of Street Law, with us tonight. In addition to Steve Roth, Tom Cohan, Michael Toback, and Jennifer Homer, these lawyers, year after year, devote their time to the young people in the Chicago area, specifically at the Whitney Young Magnet High School, a preparatory school in the Chicago public school system. In Chicago, GE partners with Jenner and Block to do the street law program at Whitney Young, and they devote location and money and time and lawyers and pizza. And so we want to thank our partners there who sustain us and make it possible for us to help them, and especially Barbara Steiner and Lynn Grayson, who are not here tonight but are good friends of the program. All of our law firm partners contribute significant resources to these programs: people, meeting space, food, money, and we couldn't do it without your commitment. I'd like to give special thanks to Peter Muniz, my good friend and a colleague, and also recently made a member of the board of Street Law, so that we can together sustain our commitment to this organization. New this year, GE added law students to the program, starting with volunteers from Loyola Law School, participating in our Chicago program. And we are looking to partner with law schools at each of the sites that we are in. I know that Georgetown helped establish this program, and we're looking for a big contribution from Georgetown in our DC site efforts going forward. There are so many other people that I'd like to thank, not the least of which is Amy Amundo from the DC area, who relentlessly and consistently gets our efforts for street law off the ground, and who I know will be a major factor in opening a Chicago program for us. In the coming year, we anticipate opening another one of our sites and efforts in Toronto, and we look forward, outside of North America, to bringing the GE Street Law collaboration to Sao Paulo, Brazil. I'd like to thank all of you for this Excellence in Service Award. All of our partners, all of our lawyers who give so tirelessly of their time. You made it possible to reach greater than 3,000 high school students each year. And we look forward to continuing our work and to grow with you all and our new partners. And so, on behalf of all of the young people who you reach every single year, I'd like to say thank you.